Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 13 of the Battered Mets Fan Podcast. I'm your host, Manny, aka Primo, alongside with me, Mr. Ronnie Diaz. How are we doing today, sir?
Hey, what's going on, Manny? Good. How you doing?
Oh, doing great. It's been a week since the last episode. A lot has happened with the New York Mets and, frankly, the city of New York and the country. We're gonna get into it. When we ended last episode, we mentioned that the Mets are gonna lose to the Braves, and the Mets ended up taking two out of three out of the Braves. And what do? We dropped two out of three to the Reds. So the time of the recording, we have a rare Friday off on Juneteenth. I know the date is wrong on our banner, but the Mets took the first game against the Phillies, and just a bizarre team. We'll try to make the sense out of it in this episode, Ronnie. But we went two out of three from the Braves. And we're not gonna catch up to them, but it's nice to beat the Braves. Those are that's a team you want to maybe get a run, start a run on. And then we dropped two out of three to the Cincinnati Reds, and it's clear we can't beat the Reds. And since signing Juan Soto, we have not been able to beat the Reds for some reason. Dating back to even the playoff race last year when we got eliminated, the Reds were the team that took our last wildcard spot. Uh, a lot of baseballs happen, a lot of stories, a lot of narratives with this team. Ronnie, I'll start with this. Did anything catch your eye in the last, I want to say, 6 games that were played, 7 games in the past week? Anything stood out to you that you loved or you completely hate before we get into some of the nice little details of the last 7 games?
No, to be honest with you, this team is just very inconsistent. There's nothing that stood
Mm-hmm.
out to me at all, whether good or
Okay.
bad. They're playing inconsistently consistent or consistent inconsistently, whatever,
Yes.
however you want to put it.
Yes.
You mentioned, bro. Honestly, it just hurts watching this team play. You know,
Yeah.
I, even when they win games, every bad team's got to win some, right? It's
Right.
162 games in a season. They may be the second worst team in baseball, but even the worst team still wins some games. The Braves could have had some days off, meaning the fact that they dropped 2 out of 3 to the Mets. The Mets are 18 and 18 at home. They're 16 and 23 away. So it explains why they won 2 out of 3 at home against the Braves and they dropped 2 out of 3 against the Reds in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But nothing is standing out to me from this team. This team still looks the same every time I turn on the TV and I put a Mets game on. And I think actually no, Nolan McLean. He pitched yesterday. 7 innings, 7 strong innings, 3 hits, no runs.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The Reds,
or
you're
no,
talking about the
or
Reds. They pitched, that was Wednesday.
my
It was
bad, my
Wednesday's
bad.
game. That
Yeah,
was Wednesday's
I
game,
thought
yeah.
it was Thursday. Yeah, Wednesday's game.
Yeah.
Um,
I get it because we're not usually we play. I don't mean to cut you off, Ronnie, real quick, but usually we don't have a day on Friday. I can't remember
on
the last time
Friday,
the Mets had a
it's
Friday
rare. It's
off.
rare.
Yeah, and there's teams playing tonight, but the Mets having a Friday day off is just so weird if it's not the start of the season or the All Star break. So it just completely threw the schedule off. Continue your point, Ronnie.
No, no. I just
Wednesday,
no,
he pitched
no, no.
Wednesday, and he was an All Star.
I'll just say something. The reason why they're not the only teams that are off. It's because of the World Cup. Um, for some reason, the scheduling or whatever, they gave some teams off the. Or is it just this game?
I thought because it can't be Juneteenth. I thought it was I know it's a holiday,
No, the World
but
Cup because of the World Cup.
could be the World Cup maybe. Hmm. Well, you know
Oh
what? You're
no,
right. Brazil's
Brazil and
playing
Haiti.
right now. Yes, and they're in
Yeah, they're
Philadelphia, and
playing
the
in
traffic was
Philadelphia.
okay. We caught on to
Yeah,
that.
there you
Good
go.
eye.
Um, anyways, so there you go. But Nolan McLean on Wednesday pitched 7 strong innings against the Red after dropping 2 to them, and the Mets ended up scoring 9 runs. I don't know, man. This team is just playing consistently, or
Yeah,
consistently inconsistent. So they win
I
some,
would.
they lose some. At this point, I consider them a bad team, and some bad teams are going to win some games. It's a long season. I'm not surprised by it at this
Yeah.
point. And there was a report that came out this morning or yesterday. Jeff Passan, if I'm not mistaken, He was the one that spoke about the Mets being sellers and potentially having Freddie Peralta being dealt, and he said it again today.
Yeah, so it's gaining some steam.
Yeah, the
That's
trade
going to be a
rumors are
discussion
starting
for
to get
us.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he mentioned Freddie Peralta again,
Mm.
and I mean, he's a reporter or I don't
An
know,
MLB
an
insider.
analyst. Yeah,
Hmm.
and he may just be predicting certain things, but obviously these guys are inside MLB or get some
Credible
news dealt
sources.
to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it could be a thing at the trade deadline.
I mean, if he's hinted it a couple times, and then clearly it's he knows something or someone is saying something within the Mets organization that they truly believe that Freddie Peralta will be dealt from the
Yeah.
Mets. And I mean, if the way it's trending, real quick, I know our banner says 33 and 41, but we're actually 34 and 41 at the time of this recording. But we've been talking about this for the last month.
Hey,
We are always between 6 to 9 games under 500, and 34 and
it's every
41.
time.
That's, I mean, once you're past 70 games in the season, whatever you think about your team, it's pretty definitive. It's pretty definitive.
Yeah.
That you can whatever you hope about and whatever you have false hope about or what concerns you. It's no, these are real concerns now, and it's this team is just poorly managed and no accountability and just really bad baseball, and that's just the reality of the Mets. Uh, let's just
I
stick to
mean,
that topic then of
I'll
bad
mention one
baseball.
thing. Yeah, no, well, okay. Bad baseball. It seems like Bo Bichette is turning the tide, and Juan Soto is becoming he's slumping again. Um,
Well, he had two home
those
runs
are
yesterday.
honorable mentions. Yeah, he went 3 for 5 yesterday.
Two home runs in Philly. That's nice.
Oh, oh, you're talking about. I keep forgetting. I keep thinking it's Thursday.
Yeah,
My
I
bad.
know, I know. It's Friday because we do
My
these on
bad.
Thursdays, but today we're doing
Yeah,
it on Friday. Yesterday we got caught up with work and we couldn't make it on time, and so we decided to
yeah,
postpone it to today. And it's just weird to do it Friday night, but
yeah,
we're just trying to pump these episodes out. But no, Juan Soto had a really good game. Bo Bichette, since the last recording, Bo Bichette has been like the actual one good thing about this team. Believe it or not, Ronnie, he's starting to pick it up, but he needs to play at this level for like another month for his stats to justify that he is a good baseball player. Which is that's insane. Like the way he's listen. I would go as far to say that I think he should be at least mentioned in the conversation for Player of the Week for the National League. That's how good his hitting has been. But if he needs to play at that level for a month just for the stats and just for the stats alone, not the looking at him, watching him with your eye, just his statistics. Since
hmm
we're an analytic team, his statistics need to justify the contract that he's getting, and there's also some rumors that he's gonna opt out of his contract at the end of the season. I don't know
yeah.
if that's true. I don't know if he would do that because it is a large contract, but that's what I've heard so far. We don't have to discuss that. That could be talked about if the rumors do fire up more as the season progresses. But Bo Bichette needs to play like an MVP for a month just for the contract to justify his play, and that's just absurd. That tells you how poor he has been the last 2.5 months, and it's frustrating because when he's on, the whole lineup changes and we could maybe pull off a run, but the more we keep hoping for this, the more we keep discussing this, the more time passes by and nothing gets done. And even when he's not the issue, our pitching just we're it's another thing with this team, Ronnie. We're too consistent with injuries. Christian Scott got injured, and I believe Lindor's rehab assignment got delayed. So it's just we're just constantly like whenever you find some positive with this team, another injury or two kicks in, and you're just like, ugh. And we fall into desperation. Uh, Ronnie, bad baseball. The Cincinnati Reds. I'm gonna tell you this one thing: 4 times between Monday and Tuesday's losses. Okay, 4 times we had bases loaded. with less than 2 outs,
Oh yeah, I saw
and
that.
no runs were produced.
Yeah.
And Juan Soto was at bat, Bo Bichette was at bat, this Jared Young was at bat, Carson Bench was at bat. Like the guys you want at the plate to just try to salvage some runs 4 times with less than 2 outs, and we produced 0 runs. That is really, really bad baseball. Like that in a nutshell, you can't that cannot happen, especially to a team that if you were to make a run, you can't give teams that you're going to competing for a wild card spot. You can't give them the edge with the tiebreakers, and that's the frustrating thing about the Mets is we're capable of beating teams that we're not chasing, but the teams that we will chase down the road, they have an advantage over us already,
Hmm.
and it just deflates you more for a potential run at a playoff, which I don't expect that to happen. But if we're gonna look at the scenario, it doesn't favor us. So just really poor baseball, poor offense. It's just frustrating. And another thing, Ronnie, our management. We already talked enough about Mendoza, but I gotta tell you, our ABS challenges, our use of challenges, there's like no game plan. There's no nothing. The Mets lost 2 challenges in the first 2 innings of a baseball game, and we had no more challenges left for the rest of the game.
Hmm.
Like that is just ridiculously selfish of players or managers, where you could fall on. It's clear. The coaches are not talking to the players about this, when to use it. There's no plan for it. And another incident happened on Wednesday against the Reds. Sloppy baseball. The third base coach threw up a sign, and the player I forgot who it was, but he just completely ran past the sign that to like not run. And he ran the sign, and eventually he was tagged out.
That
Can't
seems like
happen.
that seems to be a pattern. It seems to be
Yeah,
a
that can't
pattern.
happen. It's a bad. Yeah, Ronnie, you're right. It is a pattern. The
Yeah.
managers and the players are just not. There's no. When I see a team, a professional team, make just such little league errors, it just tells me that there's no careness and there's no game plan to like really like. There's no focus. There's just absolute no focus with this team. It's just they're winging it. It's kind of like going. You go to a park and you just casually play with like some friends and you just find other strangers in the park. You want to form up a team. That's kind of what it feels like. There's no chemistry. So again, who knows? I think when players leave the Mets, anyone on this roster that leaves and they want to, eventually do a podcast or interview or anything, they speak out on the locker room issues. That's going to be very interesting to see. But yeah, it's a huge headache, Ronnie. It's a huge headache with this team. The negatives from the series with the Reds just kind of took away the joy of beating the Braves 2 out of 3 because I hate the Braves. I know hate's a strong word, but the Braves and the Phillies are the teams I despise in our division and in baseball, believe it or not. And it just sucks the joy out of it when you play, little league, bush league, whatever you want to call it, against the Reds. It's just super deflating. Um, I don't know if you want to add anything extra to that. I don't know if you want to add anything extra to that, Ronnie. But another stat, real quick. I don't know if you want to give your thought on this. Carson Bench has been playing very poorly recently,
Yeah.
and that's probably due to the fact that you're playing good teams now. So good teams comes good pitching, and there's a scouting report on you now after a few weeks, and he's going through it right now. I believe the Red Series. I think he left nine or eight guys on base. He
Hmm.
was responsible for that. That's a lot of opportunities that you're just giving up. That can't happen. But I know he's a rookie, but that's tough.
Yeah. Rookie woos. I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The pressure's on this team.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if they're taking it serious. Some players will. Some players will more than others. And Carson Bench may be one of those players who's hard on himself and putting pressure on himself to perform,
Yeah.
especially with the way he kicked off the season. There are high expectations now of this kid.
Yeah.
So I believe that it's finally getting to him, and he's a rookie.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're gonna be a good player, you got to play through these tough times and
Yeah.
still produce. Still produce. You can't be leaving runners on base and potentially costing games. I would say that one of the games I think the Mets lost 12-zip. It's far fetched to say anything about one player. The entire team should take the loss there.
Yeah. Tobias
Obviously, that's
Myers.
why the yeah. Obviously, that's why it's a team game, so the entire team should get the loss there. What's it called? He performed pretty well yesterday. I think he went 3, 4, 5, I believe. So he made it up there. Korai Senga is back.
Mm,
I want to talk about him a little bit
okay,
because
let's do it.
when we signed this guy, when the Mets signed him, I think the Yankees had signed another. Was it the Yankees or was
I
it
think it was the
LA?
Dodgers.
Right? It was the Dodgers.
I think it was the Dodgers, and we were kind of hoping. There was, I remember I saw a report connected Senga that the Mets were kind of hopeful that that one might draw Otani's interest to look at the New York market for the New York Mets because we're willing to pay a lot for him. So that's kind of why I went for Senga. Not that Senga's a bad player, no. Like he did show promise also, but it was
Yeah.
kind of linked to the Otani sweepstakes at the time. So, you know.
Okay. So was it after it couldn't have been Yamamoto that he was brought?
I think it was during Yamamoto. If you want, I could search it up real quick.
I'm trying to get that.
Mhm.
Anyways, he was brought in with high expectation as well. Um, and I think everybody was excited to see this guy pitch, especially with the ghost pitch. And I believe in 2022, when he came on, or in 2023, his first season,
Yeah.
that forkball was doing numbers. He didn't have the greatest of seasons that year, but he is starting to become a very high injury prone player, and it's showing every time he comes back after injury.
Yeah.
He just doesn't put up the numbers that we're expecting him to put up. So at this point, why even bother to continue? If you're gonna do what you did at Sean Manaea, David Peterson, it's time. It's
Mhm.
time for Otani to go to the bullpen as well.
Mm. Damn.
Just because,
Yeah.
bro, he only pitched 4 innings in his return, and he gave up 4 runs on
Yeah.
4 hits. I think 4 walks. Oh, he just put up a 4.44
Yeah.
um type of
That's
night,
terrible.
and yeah, it's on
Even
his
after
return.
injury.
But it just seems, again, it's another pattern. It's another pattern with these players. Every time he comes back from injury, it's the
It's bad.
same thing, same news with him. And then I wouldn't be surprised he pitches 2 more games, 3 more games, and he's gonna get hurt again. I just can't see him finishing the season at all.
Probably not. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets hurt by All-Star break. He might pull something. Frankly, the Mets. I don't think he was ready, or not that he was ready. The Mets didn't feel comfortable bringing him back up because he wasn't pitching good in the minors or in his rehab assignments at all. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. But the Mets are trying to protect their I forget his name, our top prospect, because he's kind of not ready yet, and I'm pretty sure they don't want to make the same mistake they did with Tong,
With
because
Tom,
last year we were
yeah.
desperate. We brought him up, and that kind of messed up his confidence just a little bit. Because when he came back, he still showed some type of improvement, but he's not it's not the ace we hoped he would be coming back to the Mets this earlier this season. But yeah, like he was just not ready to pitch. And for what it's worth, Ronnie, I'm not trying to defend the guy. For what it's worth, he kind of toughed out those 3 innings, so kudos to that. But you're right, the damage was already done, and at this point, you're just trying to protect the bullpen. And speaking of the bullpen, Mendoza, I don't understand his bullpen management. I still don't. I feel like him. I didn't watch the game. I read the highlights and I read some other reports after. And my biggest question, my biggest takeaway, because I saw in the stat box, and just my biggest, I don't understand. You're down 12-0, but it was a blowout at that point, and you kind of figured the offense is not working. Why would you put in Peterson to pitch later in that game? Like, why would you put Peterson to pitch when you know that you're going to need him maybe for the Sengo, just in case Sengo runs into trouble? You have Peterson to kind of, damage control, right? Or just kind of like have your bulk reliever or your bulk starter, whatever you want to call it. I'm sick of the bulk. I'm so sick of this strategy of the Mets. But, you have some leverage there. But you use Peterson for what? The game's lost already. For what? We're not gonna rally the Mets. They put up donuts, and you're gonna put in Peterson. Like then you can use him. I just don't understand. I don't get it, and I refuse to understand it because I feel like at that point I'm trying to reach. I'm reaching to try to defend Mendoza. I'm not gonna defend him. It's just ridiculous. I just F minus of a coach, and he needs to get the boot eventually. I just don't know if it's gonna happen. Um,
F mine.
regardless, we pretty much shared our negatives with. We're not gonna do the hard hat and the Kepena. There's too many games to go around. We won't get into much of the Brave series because it gets wiped away with the Red series. Now moving on to the Phillies series, we win the first game, and I'm gonna share the stat with you real quick, Ronnie, before I get to my list. A fun little list, and I'll ask you for your thoughts and if you want to make your own list on the fly, because I feel like you'll probably agree with me on most of them. The Mets, and it doesn't make any sense. Drop my mic. I apologize. It doesn't make any sense. But Ronnie, I would like you to try to make some sense out of this. For what it's worth, every last game of a series, the Mets have a 7-game win streak. And out of the 7 games that they've won in a row, 4 of them was to salvage the series and avoid a sweep. And if you want me to, turn up a notch, the last 11 game threes or game fours, whatever, the last game of the series, the last 11 series, the Mets have won 10 of them. That makes no sense. I tried to make sense out of that for the last couple hours. I'm gonna just toss this idea to you, Ron, and you tell me what you think. Do you think the teams just want to throw away the game? They just want to get out of New York, or they want the Mets to leave out of the city already, and they just don't care because the series is already won, and they're just giving us a free game, like a freebie? Or are the Mets? I don't know. Does the focus turn up to 100 on the last game? They're like, guys, we might get swept. I don't get it, and I got a headache trying to figure it out. Ronnie, what do you make of that stat?
I
7 in
think
a
they're
row.
just trying. I think they're just trying to avoid another losing streak. Another, what was it? 12 game, 11 game
12
losing
game losing
streak.
streak.
You know how I say those games matter during the season?
Yeah.
Because of those 12 games is the reason why we have that record. Is the reason
Yeah.
why we're down 8, 9 games below 500.
34 and 41. 7.
Yeah,
But it
seven
might as well
games.
be. It feels like 9 or 10. It
Uh,
feels like it.
um, I have no thought to put into that. I pointed out that
Just an
Bichette always.
anomaly.
Yeah, I noted that Bichette always goes off on the last games of the series. And they happen to win. Did you do that calculation, or did someone? Did
So,
someone?
so the way I figure it out, Ronnie, is that we laugh at the Bo Bichette. We laugh at Bo Bichette that he goes off on the last game of every series and reminds us, "Hey, I'm that guy, remember?" And then he just goes 0 for 10 the next 2 games. So I wanted to look at that because I wanted to tell you, like I mentioned earlier in the show,
Yeah.
Bo Bichette has been the guy this week. So I looked at the schedule and I started just looking at the series and I'm like, the Mets almost got swept here. They almost got swept there. And then I started looking at it and I started counting. I'm like, wait a minute. The Mets have actually won every single game the last game. I've noticed that because if not for that, we'd have like a 10-game losing streak or like we have like a really bad losing streak. And so I looked at that and I'm like, that's actually kind of interesting. So I just noted it down. And I said, I want to bring that up. That's very strange. And it goes back to the Red Series in Citi Field when we nearly got swept and we won. And since then, yeah, we just salvaged 4 out of 7 series,
You know, you
which is
know,
insane.
this is just speculation. You know how bad teams play for the to be the worst team just to get a draft pick.
Yeah,
I
tanking.
feel like, yeah, exactly. I feel like they're doing this to
Really?
try to boost up their farm system.
Huh.
Because their farm system is horrible right now. They don't really have that many players in the
They got
top
spent.
100.
They
They
got
don't.
spent. They
Yeah.
got dealt. Peralta.
Now, I'm not sure why. I'm not 100% going to say. I'm not gonna put my money where my mouth is with this statement, but um, it just almost looks like they're a team that's tanking just to boost up their farm system when it comes to the trade deadline and when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to the draft next year. So if this is the case, why would Stearns give up so many players the way he did to start the season the way they did? Or was it a realization afterwards, after that 10 game, 11 game losing streak they had back in April? Because this team is looking dead out there.
Yeah.
They do not have any type of motivation the way they did when they started like that first week of the season. I don't know if it was the World Baseball Classic that did this to them. Some players got spent. Some players didn't get called up. Some players put a lot of energy into it, and maybe it just didn't. I don't know. I can't find the right explanation. There's so many question marks with this team, and it's funny that you find that you did that
The step
detail.
of them winning last games of the series.
Yeah, because it is like
bizarre.
it looks like a team that's avoiding another losing streak just so that nobody's on their ass, especially with the Knicks. I mean, geez, 2 months of Knicks basketball, and now the World Cup, the way USA is playing.
Yeah,
bro, who's paying attention? Who is
That's
paying
true.
attention right now? So,
like I told you, I told you that's how I'm kind of watching the games now. Like I'm just looking through the highlights. I'm trying to mark down any notes, anything that stood out. I look at the stat box, and then anything that pops out, I try to find like video clips of it. Just to get them. That's kind of how I'm watching it right now because it's not fun baseball. I will give you one thing that might support your speculation. Why didn't you fire Mendoza?
but that's the thing. That was
Like,
one
why
of the
wouldn't
things
you
that was.
fire him?
Like, is he or are they avoiding him getting fired by not losing those last games of the series? I don't know.
I don't know. If you're trying to get better,
and
it would have made sense to fire him.
I'm gonna say when the Phillies fired their coach, you said that they were turning things around, bro. They were almost in the same position.
They were tied with us for the worst.
And now they're like five. Yeah, they're like 5 games above 500, and the Phillies.
I said it. I don't like to be right on that because I can't stand Philly, but
Yeah.
I said, watch, they fired the coach when we wanted to fire a coach. I really wanted Mendoza out. And I said, watch Philly go on a run. Just watch them go on a run. It's going to piss me off because then why can't I be the Mets? I'm not saying that the same outcome would have been the Mets, but show me you care because this is not a good baseball team. And now we're stuck watching a really bad baseball team. And it's not, oh, it's so early. No, we're in the middle of the season, man. This is not a good baseball. It's not fun anymore. So it's very unfortunate. Ronnie, I have a list here. Top 5. I hate Philly. What don't I like about Philadelphia? Because it's the Phillies series, and I can't stand them. Number 5, I don't like how I feel after eating a Philly cheesesteak. I'm not saying Philly cheesesteaks are bad, but the feeling after is miserable, and I can't stand that. I'm not gonna say no to it, but I do not look forward to what happens after. Number 4, Joel Embiid. I really do not like Joel Embiid.
Okay.
No, I'm not gonna get into it. I just really cannot stand Joel Embiid. Number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the one football team I cannot stand. All right. After the Tom Brady dynasty, the Eagles became number 1 for me. I can't stand that team. Number 2, the fans. I do not like the fans. They are horrible. And I have a story. I think I've mentioned it. But long story short, I went to Philadelphia to watch New York City FC versus Philadelphia, Eastern Conference Finals. Philadelphia scored. They took a lead in that game, and the fans behind us I saw them stick their middle fingers at me while they're celebrating, and I was trying to tell our cousin George something, and they had the fingers right by my ear, and they kind of like threw it in the back of my head, and oh man, I was ready to fight them. But it wasn't worth it. And good thing I didn't because I would have kicked out and I would have missed New York City winning. Number 1, and I also have a baseball story related to that.
Please say it.
After. Number 1, Chase Utley.
Chase Utley, yeah.
Chase Utley. He is the reason why I grew a hate for Philadelphia. All of this list happened. It does not happen if it wasn't for Chase Utley. I
think every
cannot
man,
stand Chase
every
Utley.
Mets
I
fan.
hate that man with a passion. He is, without a doubt, the dirtiest player in baseball that I've seen in my lifetime, and I'm sure you as well, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Chase Utley, you are the worst. And that's my top five. Why I hate Philadelphia.
I'm gonna. All right. So I don't have so much hatred towards the Eagles just because I'm a Jets fan. They have
Mm-hmm.
nothing. I hate the Patriots more than the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike the Cowboys more than the Eagles just because of their
Fair.
fans.
Yeah,
I will agree with you with the fans. I
they're
can't
brutal.
stand their fans. I lived in PA for a year, of
Yeah.
years ago, more than 10 years ago, and when they made it to the World Series against the Yankees, uh, I'm not gonna admit to something I don't want to, but I
Don't say
wanted them
it.
to lose. I wanted the I wanted the Phillies to lose. And my bad. I meant the other New York team,
The New
the
York team.
NYAL. Yeah, I wanted them to lose so bad because those fans they knew I was a Mets fan and they were obnoxious. And Chase Utley, yeah, dirtiest player. I don't agree with the call that the MLB made afterwards. I think they should have just punished Chase Utley and made him an example
Yep.
because
You don't
when
do
I
that.
grew up playing baseball, when we grew up playing baseball, they told us to slide hard into second to break up a double play, but they didn't tell us to break a leg.
Yeah.
To
They didn't tell us to slide into the guy.
Yeah, they didn't tell us to slide late either. So
Mm-hmm.
they just told us to break up the double play, and I kind of like that hard grit baseball back when we were growing up.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's more than 10 years ago now, and there's nothing that we can do about it. But
Nope.
yeah, Chase Utley, man, I can't stand that dude. I
Again, I
remember when
can't.
he went on a hitting streak. I think it was more than 30 games back in 2007, 2008, their golden era. Um, I kind of wanted to see the hitting streak broken because it was more almost 50 years since that happened.
But not him.
But thank God it wasn't him. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Mm-mm.
God it wasn't him. I can't stand him.
Mm-mm.
Now, on a positive note, July 4th is coming up
Okay.
in
Yes.
Philadelphia. That
250.
I'm sorry, Pennsylvania State. Yeah, 250 in Pennsylvania State or in Philadelphia. Yeah, that's where the Declaration of Independence was signed. So if it wasn't for that state, and if it wasn't for
It
that
would be
Declaration
here.
of Independence, I wouldn't be rocking this jersey.
Yes.
USA just advanced to the round of 32,
Yes.
and they're playing awesome football. We might have to start
Yeah.
calling it soccer now.
Soccer. To piss
So
off the world.
to piss off
Yeah.
the world, yeah.
Quick. Yeah. No. Quick comments on that. I'm not surprised about the results. I personally had USA
Yeah.
winning the group. I
Mhm.
think what's shocking, okay, it's shocking for me personally, Ronnie, how well of a level USA has been playing. And what's
Elite.
more impressive is they were able to perform that way today against Australia without Pulisic. And my my optimism for USA is only slightly reserved, Ronnie, because this team is playing out of their minds. It's great. I had to do research real quick. The World Cup, I think when they made the round of, I asked a group chat, has USA ever scored this many goals in a World Cup? 2002, they scored 7 goals and they made it to a round of 8, the quarterfinals. I said a round of 8. They made the quarterfinals. They scored 7 goals during that run. USA has 6 goals through 2 games. Their
Mhm.
offense is playing at a ridiculous level, and they've only
They
conceded
played a
1 goal
South
so far.
American team. They scored 4 goals against a South American team that only conceded 10 goals in 18
Yeah,
games.
against the likes of Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Ecuador, like they're
Exactly.
playing
The
big boys.
toughest qualifiers. Yeah,
Tough.
exactly.
So my only reservations for this team is, can you play at this level elite
Mm.
against a monster like a Spain or a Germany? They did have that friendly against Germany. They did look like the better side for a good amount of time during that game, even though the result was 2-1 Germany's favor. That was great. That was a friendly. But you
Mhm.
kind of see that style, that chemistry, that play is kind of bleeding into the World Cup. Can he
Yeah,
perform at this level
absolutely.
in the later stages with the pressure at an all-time high for this group who's never been there? Can he play this well against those countries? And if they can prove that, I mean, it's possible that they could have a really deep run. We're talking about USA. I'm also rocking Colombia. We had a great win against Uzbekistan. It was fun.
Mhm.
But no, USA is. dude, they're impressing me. That they're making a lot of, again, I don't have to restate what I just said, but I mean, who's not excited about this team? Who's not excited about this country making a deep run in this? And we're at home of all places. We're gonna have a rocking
Exactly.
environment for us.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe the sky's the limit.
You know how sometimes countries go through some tough times.
Yes,
And when it comes to the World Cup, we've seen this with Middle Eastern teams, we've seen this with Asian teams, some European teams.
yes,
When they have a run like this, when their national team has a run like this in the World Cup, it just brings the whole country together. And I think at this moment, I think we all need the Knicks united everyone in New York.
yeah,
If the Knicks can do that in a city where it's the melting pot of the world, brought everyone together to celebrate
yeah,
a championship in New York,
yeah.
I think this national team can do the same. And
I
this
hope
this
so.
this country is bleeding for that. So
I hope
it
so.
is
That would
exciting.
really help soccer. And
Yeah,
we have to call
and
it soccer here in America,
200,
but
bro, 250 years on the 250th birthday they're doing this.
that's
Can you
insane.
imagine? Can you
That would be
imagine?
crazy. That would be documentaries
I'm
for
getting chills and goosebumps.
for
I'm
decades.
getting ahead of myself. I'm getting ahead of myself,
Yeah.
but
No, but it just shows you how well they've been playing, and I mean, I would rest Pulisic if just make sure that cap's 100%. We're gonna need him if we're gonna do this. We're gonna need him.
bring him in the
Um,
second half the next game. You guys already advanced, save him, and have
Save
him
him and
play
have him for
around in
round 32.
32.
Good to go. No, I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. We'll have to see what happens later with Paraguay and with Turkey. Outside of that, Ronnie, you mentioned the Knicks. They did win a championship. We didn't, last time we were heading into Game 5. Uh, my only takeaway from that series, I mean, not series, my only takeaway after the parade, Ronnie, is that I don't think a Mets parade would create that much chaos from what I've seen. So I have some optimism that if I ever do attend a parade, it's not going to be that chaotic, and I feel like I probably, get away with having a good time and not
Yeah.
seeing. I sent you a bunch of clips. It was hilarious. People cursing, people smoking into people's faces.
So
A
it's
stampede.
a different fan base. It's a different
Yeah,
fan
it's
base.
different, and there's two baseball teams, so I,
Yeah.
I am hopeful for a Mets parade one day, Ronnie. I am hopeful. Listen, if the Knicks got one, why not the Mets? It's gonna happen. Just how
If
how
the
much
Mets
longer we're gonna wait and suffer?
if the Mets ever get one, I'm buying my ticket right away.
No, we're going to the parade.
Yeah.
And last but not least, speaking of parades, Ronnie, the next recording, I don't know if we're gonna do it Sunday or Monday. If we do it Monday night, I'm just gonna let you know right now. I booked reservations for right
Oh
here,
yeah, you
Coyotes, I'm
mentioned
5 minutes
that.
away. So the Tartan Army, real quick, if you're not familiar, the Tartan Army is the Scottish. Uh, they're awesome. I've been following on Instagram and everywhere TikTok. They're taking over Miami. They have a big game
Yeah.
against Brazil next week, and I made reservations and I got my spot at Ball and Chain. They're planning to go to, and I have to see if I'm going to go to the game after. They're going to go to Ball and Chain. They're going to drink from 2 p.m. and then they're going to march. Okay, I did the math. It's about a mile walk from Ball and Chain on Calle Ocho all the way to Marlins Park. They're gonna take over Lone Depot Park. Now they took over Fenway Park, and it was a insane environment. It was a soccer match during a baseball game. I don't know if you're gonna get the same thing at Marlins Park because not a lot of fans go, but I will tell you, it's gonna be being promoted so much online that I actually believe people are gonna go to the game. I know this because the prices have gone up ridiculous. I checked, the tickets were $17. Now the entry is about $50.
Bro.
People are
They're
buying
they're
tickets and the tickets are going high. So
people
expect a
want to
big
party
crowd on
with.
Monday. I might go to the game. If I don't go to the game, I will record, but I might be very drunk from partying with the Scottish fans, the Tartan Army. I'm
Yeah,
very
nah,
excited.
UK soccer fans are in
They're
UK
insane,
football
and I
fans
love
are
it, and I want
insane.
to
Yeah.
experience that. I can't go to World Cup games, so this is the best I could do. I'm looking forward to partying with them. I am gonna go with my Columbia jersey, and I will embrace the Tartan Army.
Why not? Hmm.
And I might introduce them to Juaro if they don't know what that is, and they're gonna find out on Monday.
They might introduce you to all types of beers too.
All type of stuff. Yeah. Listen, this is the beauty of the World Cup. Last statement, real quick. The beauty of the World Cup. It when you see the fans come in into like a different culture, and everyone's interacting with each other.
Oh,
you
yeah.
you see that the World Cup brings the best out of people, different cultures. You don't see a lot of rivalry. You don't see. Europe had this like, you could blame the media for that. The Europe had this like idea of us, and then they come over here and they're like, "Yo, America's awesome," and we feel the same way with a lot of different cultures. Like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
they're awesome. They know how to party. They're fun. I want to hang out with them. You look at Mexico. Look at the Koreans in Mexico. That's like the best friendship in the planet. So it's just beautiful, and I can't wait, and I want to be part of that. And so I will represent Colombia, and I will party with the Tartan Army. My girlfriend and I, we're looking forward to it on Monday. And let's see, if I go to Martins Park, I'll send you photos and videos. And if I don't go, I'll be here drunk out of my mind. I don't know if you want to do a show off of that, but I know I'm going to be blasting, drinking. But they're probably going to be there at 12 instead of 2. They're going to be drinking, they'll probably run it dry, actually, now that I think about it. I might not have alcohol to buy by the time I get there. Ronnie, any final thoughts?
No, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you just said. There's a stigma about this country outside of the U.S., and there's a stigma inside this country about the U.S. And I think all the outsiders are starting to love this country more than some of the people that live here.
Yeah.
I don't want to make this political, but I will
Mhm.
say one thing. If you cannot support this team on the run, or at least have some love for this country, go somewhere else. Because right now you have a lot of people, a lot of foreigners that are coming here and are saying, "Holy crap,
This is awesome.
this is not what they told us it was like."
Yeah.
And to top that off, the stadiums that these teams are playing in, those stadiums were built possibly for a World Cup here, because it was
Yeah.
either this year or the following World Cup. And those stadiums are here to stay for a long time. Not like in these other countries where they play the World Cups, where they built the stadiums for the World Cup
And then they're abandoned.
poof. Yeah. That's the difference. That's why this country is so great. You don't
Yeah.
have to like your government to love this country. So I
Agree.
definitely don't. I don't like this government. I wish we didn't have to pay taxes. I just want to put that out there. Sometimes I think of myself as an anarchist, but sometimes people need to have some type of law and order. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Go USA.
Yeah, USA. And I mean, it's awkward for me to say that when I'm wearing a Columbia jersey too. But hey, man, hopefully, as long as one of the two could win, that will be the Mets gonna have to win 4 in a row to impress me. So, with that being said,
I'll cheer on Colombia as well. Obviously, I have
Oh, yeah,
Colombian.
you have to. Your wife is Colombian. So
My son is my kids are half Colombian. So
who knows? Right, I'll tell you right now, USA is playing at a different level. Colombia needs to reach to, if they want to be, elite. But we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a fun summer, and I'm hoping the Mets could flip the script and make it more fun. But that's asking for a lot. Let's see what happens if the Mets can win the series against Philadelphia. I'm very happy. I'll take pre-shots for the Tartan Army party. That's gonna happen here on Monday. That being said, please like, subscribe, comment, share. Till next time, Ronnie. Let's see. Maybe next time I'll be blasted. And remember, always LFGM.
I'm gonna say go USA.
USA. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. USA.
Yeah.
Till next time, guys.
All right.